as we got to discuss throughout our lovely episode today, the lovely soul family, the stars that gather with emotional maturity, and we also have the ones who are not emotionally mature. So all of the stars gather around, yet some are going to be way down and others are going to be lighter, and that's how we're going to start this one. So if you are new here, you are welcome to tune in to some of the episodes of today, or you can just tune in to this one and know that a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group knows that there's no demons, devils, evils, and Lucifers to be blaming for that which is the shame button of those who do not go to good therapy to heal it, and then they get to string along. No, they actively prance around all together with their pain point, and it's called they didn't heal the trust break or the big or small trauma, and instead they're using it, and that's called the adaptive child pattern behavior of groups that come together with rigid mind and not flexible to open to other types of ways of being, believing, thinking, and new information and new stories. So they don't like that. Like, I'm going to use me. When they redo Aladdin, I'm not going to watch it. They already redid it. I like my version when I was a kid. And that's because it's one shot ahead of the big one. Because that's just me. It's my childhood memory. I have an implicit and explicit memory. And so I like to keep that. And because, I'm just being a little pouty brat, basically. Okay, so I'm going to use something very small to share. I know that I'm being stubborn, but I'm okay with it. Okay, so that, though, is called entertainment, right? So I'm going to say that it's not a big deal, that I choose to not open myself up to watching the new Aladdin for the new generation, who definitely will make fun of my Aladdin because it was, 2D? So the artwork, all that. Okay, so I'm just trying to put perspective into context, or however you word it. Okay, so when you're an emotionally intelligent, mentally intelligent, physically intelligent, spirituality person of faith, you know that God and Holy Spirit and Jesus and all of the stories from yesterday of those who stood before us came to stand together with love, not with shaming. And the only ones who actively think that humanity doesn't contain goodness or kindness or wants to harp that horn on, no, we must shame, society must shame, 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 shame. Anyone who's doing that, basically, they got held like that. So they got somewhere, somehow, again, a shame button because there was a trust break and or a trauma break and or basically the rupture that had a bad feeling and flavor and taste, because you will all, like I, will hone in on our brains on that which we don't like. Do you know why? Guess who your embodied brain protects? Use your human name for now. Now guess who's a piece of consciousness and another piece and another piece, okay? Great. So how I can simplify a lot of different concepts to give you, though, a couple and or more breakdowns of once you learn how the embodied brain is. I've learned from Dr. Daniel Siegel, and we all have it, and the sciences are showing that there's not all inherently good or all inherently evil. And there's no demon that possesses you. There's a neuroscientist. And then I get to be that 5D mystic. Okay, so we're soul sisters, brothers, all that. I had already learned this as a teenager. So what I got to learn of faith is the same that I'm still learning. And when I learned world religions, I noticed some consistent themes. And I noticed that all of those who spoke before me and before anyone of true faith, they all were trying to get us, spiritually speaking, to come together. It's why that which will last is that which is true. And what is true is that you and I are people in an embodied body, brain, and that shame exists because in our ancestors way back when we'd get kicked out by the herd, we'd be one with the animals, and a bear would eat me alive unless it was, fed or something, and I ran away and hid easily enough. So the stories that are true for a person who is of faith does not dispel our faith. You can't dispel and disprove God. You can't dispel and disprove creation. 97% of what is out there is unavailable to scientists, and smart scientists know this, which is why they keep on doing their little data thing. And their data thing, which is quantitative, if it proves, they continue to prove and see if they can disprove it, which is why we have flat earthers. people are going to use AI to try and disprove reality, and a lot more of, the people who can say, no, there's human evil everywhere because they're not doing monoamory or monogamy. And we're going to go on that tangent today. Okay, so they don't clear their karmic board. And those dislikes and likes are their karma. And then there's that 1-year-old with a defectiveness button, 3-year-old with a shame button. They could use Patrick Tiahan, a great therapist for anyone who wants to heal childhood trauma. Terry Real for anyone who wants to move into functional adult. All the good therapists, Bezel van der Kolk, Stephen Porges. I don't think he's a therapist though, because he's doing data for the polyvagal theory. Janina Fisher is a therapist. Peter Levine's no longer taking people, but basically you got a bunch of people who know how to work with your shame button, if there is one, and tell you there's nothing to be ashamed of, you're not defective. No human being is to identify with their biggest mistake. In fact, repenting has always been, for those of us of faith, we know what it means. In fact, when we get quizzed, if there's a thief or a murderer, I got quizzed on this in my bachelor's years. I already knew because I went to catechism for my confirmation, and I got it because I promised to Jesus and God love and the Holy Spirit. And clairs and spiritual gifts are one and the same, and Reiki is not bad energy, but people are closed-minded and rigid enough to actively continue to want to bring you an ancient textbook, which is made of basically stone at this point. And it is what it is, states of consciousness. When you go into cognitive dissonance and structural dissociation and you choose to not be self-aware, accountable, or regulate because you choose to actively disregard that your behavior and your mannerisms are completely unnecessary, because belief is personal, as is politics, religion, and everything else, and that faith has nothing to do with what words are coming out of your mouth, has everything to do with what's from my heart. A feminine knows what a feminine knows, and a person of faith knows what a person of faith knows, which is why those of true faith, they and I talk together. And I'm not an evil bitch or an evil witch. I'm actively a mystic. And then the ones that like to make fun, we tease about how yoga don't bring no demons out of you, but there are people who believe it. It's hilarious that someone will immediately be like, oh my God, it brings demons out of you, because you actively think there's a demon inside the body. And you're like, okay, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Did you smoke something? I actively get made fun of because I got glares. Oh, this one's funny. So whenever I'm talking about my future husband, future, I don't know how many lifetimes away from now. Oh, but anytime that happens, I love seeing my family people, their face. No, we're going to get into that in a minute. We don't be like, oh no, my family don't love me. They're making fun of me. Me. That makes me think of Cusco. When he's in the middle of that little puddle, all pissy at himself, crying, a crocodile to get up, Cusco. He gets up and he goes and he apologizes. But then at the end, what does he do? Man, Cusco, you didn't have to lie. You could have done the right thing. But okay, I'll let you pass. I'm present. It'll be okay. Maybe you will do the grown-up thing eventually and let me know that you want to give me a hug, Cusco. It's not true. No touchy. It's not true, Cusco. You want a hug, and I know it. Like Migration. There's that movie, a cartoon, where my younger sister makes fun of me because I'm a hugger. So whenever she'll be upset, I'll try and go hug her. And sometimes she doesn't want to be hugged, but I still will go hug her because she's the baby sister. So she kind of has to put up with me. And I kind of get to put up with her. I let her do anything she wants because she's the baby. And I told her, you're okay. I'm spoiling you because that's what I decided, because I'm not your mother. I'm your big sister. So I get to, and she definitely remembers. I got to bring her as my mascot with my friends, my teenage boyfriend. She was always with us. So she had a good time. I thought so. Now she basically says, you made me sit in the sun. You got all that ice cream though. Yes, but still. Yeah, but I got you ice cream. So anyways, this Migration movie, this brother or sister bird basically goes to the other bird, you're angry, you need a hug, and hugs. So anyone who is anyone, if they're emotionally mature, mentally mature, and aware of themselves, they're going to want a hug. That's called you're a mammal and so am I. And actively we keep each other safe from the bear that's going to eat us, and then we die all together, eaten alive, probably way back when. So that shame thing, I forgot. It went through a lot of transformations because we started to speak and, move in together and all that other stuff. So let's leave those people who want to be in the refusal of the call. They keep saying they're using God's name. Yes, sure, you keep using the name. The only ones who believe in the 7 to 14 charming and shaming human beings and the whole inherently good or evil are the same ones who, they don't like any of those of us who are polyamory or monoamory with mysticism and superpowers, and basically saying, why aren't you all getting along? We're a globe. Don't you know we have rewritten the fates? Basically, no, we haven't. It's a round earth. It's one globe. We actively care about it, and we rewrite that we're going to get together because we don't have this toxic thing. So we don't treat each other like Diego's family from Ice Age. So yeah, when you meet Patrick Tiahan, he's a therapist, childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing. He'll tell you will to heal, pain, or grief, pain, then empower justice with people that have gone through the same thing. No romanticizing or demonizing any of the trauma stuff, no projecting, just healing with people. And then if you want, when you're ready, you forgive your family. So once you're ready to forgive the family, then you're ready for mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices here at IHP, because I forgive always because Jesus taught me, but also because I don't have the shaming thing. Not even a little bit. I have the nurturing thing, and then I have the equanimity thing, and I know that you are going to be you. So I don't do martyr, superior, blame, or shit. You have your behavior. If it's a maladaptive or adaptive child pattern, I'm not going to correct you, but I will address it if it actively does impede, if you will, in any way. Don't worry though. I know how to dive into my emotional plane and actively share with you in a way that is, you're a human and I'm a human, so I will love, accept, and respect you. Okay, so no shaming tone, no blaming, none of that faulting, no revenging, no spite, even though sometimes people think, no, we have a sense of humor and people don't understand it always, but actively we don't want anything to happen to anyone except for them to be love and light and happiness and all of that, which is where, the masculines in my life, they keep telling me that that's impossible, and I say I'm possible, and so is everything. But I know that some people will say that they will say fallen angels, not because they've fallen, because they want to shame humanity, and they have a shame defectiveness button. And the 1-year-old, they don't want to co-create. They don't want to go get healed. So they don't want to go to Patrick Tiahan, and they don't want to clear out that karma. So the likes and dislikes, the 14-month-old, and how we think our thoughts and emotions are irrefutable facts, and they're not. Okay, so when you know mentally, emotionally, and physically that they are not irrefutable facts, that you have subjective reality, so do I. It's called that we can share life in different ways, different beliefs. Okay, good. So when you're feeling good about that, that's when you're open to the Holy Spirit. Not when you're using ancient textbooks from the medieval times, even though, again, those people say, see, that's exactly how to manipulate words. They have a way with that. The only fools that fall for it, though, are the same ones who, again, they're not actively seeking to be with the kind people. Imagine someone trusting someone kind less. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Fox. Now imagine someone having black and white thinking, all or nothing, and imagine them honing in on the negative. So once you're an angel and then you're a demon devil, they get to put you in that box and they believe it as irrefutable fact. And then imagine they got a leader with them, a Peter Pan, who's a 7 to 14 charming, and they're buying into the bullshit, like lack of imagination for evil, because they actively don't hear what a bullshit statement that is, and other statements that other people make too. So the beginner's mind is basically, I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving, cold, because I'm self-empowered, which is why I don't take offense when somebody says, you're polyamory, you were traumatized from your twin flames. No, you don't know what love is, do you? Because you can't love more than one people. No, you're a masochist. No, actively no. Healthy self-worth here. Don't do any torture chamber shit. Get away from me. I have my restorative embodiment stuff. And so people who actively don't know how some of us do love more than one person, and it's more than a friend, and we're consensually non-monogamous. So they really don't know that there is the possibility for the whole cheating business to be done with. It's called open communication. But when you're emotionally mature, you can do that. Otherwise, you're going to have people, just go watch Mean Girls, Hangover, all that drama stuff. Okay, so the beginner's mind is actively a beautiful mind because it's in the present, in the now. So this mindful living. Okay, so you're always having a good time, which is why we don't have the laundry that Zen master has. We have emotions. And it's called mindfully getting into the I am aware of emotions, thoughts, not irrefutable facts. I don't hone in on the likes or dislikes more than the other. While the people who have the broken stuff going on, and they can get it healed with good therapy, and then they can join the land of, again, the living, meaning mindfully aware people. So they're always living and breathing, but living, having a good time, like dancing. So not rigid. Okay. With that being said, it's called playful. Krishna, Leela, Shiva, and Kali. That's what we get to embody when we're in the enlightenment soul age group, mystics or not, because we're a restored embodiment, self-aware person with accountability, regulation. So we do flaws and integrity altogether. So flaws and imperfections, when somebody says, you are perfect, flawed, and I don't like you, you need to change. I don't think it's going to happen. So, no, I know it's not going to happen. I'm going to take a time out. No, I'm not. I actively am already in my body, and you just posed to me a decision. Well, that's going to be easy. I don't change. I have limitless possibilities, and I definitely claim my independence. So do you. So we independently get to, you want to clear out by any chance? I can clear out, you can clear out. Good, okay. So we clear again through open communication. We took a leap of faith. Great deal, great deal. And we don't do detours. No, we do decision making. So this is where actively rejection's not protection. There's a bountiful of human beings out there that love, and when they're emotionally mature men, women, and they definitely know what long-term is in general. Now, when it comes to honing in on that which is negative, as I was trying to say, your body protects you. And so people who trust kind people less and goodness in humanity, they're the ones with the trust break. So until they're ready to forgive whatever happened, however many years back, the first 3 years of your life count, because you are implicit memory. I know the ones who don't admit they have emotions, that's why they like the 7 to 14 charming, because they say that stuff. They say that emotions aren't real or something like that. And they're ruling with them. Some of us, we know that we're ruling with them, and we know they're not irrefutable facts, which is why we can tend to the nervous system, regulate. And then again, when we're presented with biologically rude human beings, we know that their shame button, blame, fault, and revenge is personal to their story. We feel bad, and it's not Lucifer or devils or demons. We know the stories what that served before we had attachment trauma. So now we know the truth, and we don't need to call people names. So we don't need to demonize. Oh, we also don't need to romanticize. So if somebody actively says, how dare you, you just triggered me, and they go on about something, you say, wow, I'm so sorry. Here's the eggshell that I apparently broke. There you go. Should I go? Because I'm pretty sure you think I'm an actively bitch, rude bitch, evil. What? No, that doesn't happen either. They actively just disengage completely. Luckily for us, once you don't like someone, they say, I don't like that bitch. I don't want to hang out with her. That's okay. That doesn't happen, by the way. Not that I know of. But I do have people that do say, yeah, you're a bitch. They don't say that. I'm just messing with y'all. But they definitely say, you're not a friend. I don't like you. And I say, I'm so sorry, we're incompatible. I respect your choice. Thank you so much. And I leave. And that's actively through a distance, not obviously face to face. Apparently people have a really big challenge with telling people in their face things. But I get it, because here's the thing. Healthy boundaries are actively conversations. It's not canceling, blocking, or unfriending. That is all of the adaptive child who's unforgiving, harsh, rigid. That's why it doesn't happen in your face. People actively don't know unless they're drunk. If they're drunk, but see, they're drunk, and that's something that I'm not going to visit today, that story. But that's the only time. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because that's the only time a person has the guts to actively do something that I'm going to say I would be definitely a person who'd look and think about that. Instead, what you find out that those same people, then you see them when they're not drunk. I'm just going to let people in on a little fun fact in case you haven't tuned into any of the episodes. So I'm going to pause. I'm just going to organize it and make it short. Okay, so actively... Drunk people will tell you what they think, and when they have porous boundaries, they manipulate desperately words, and so they will use a way to try and kind of make you think you're acting like a bitch, which I'm used to because I had teenage friends, and then I grew up to say I'm confident, and if I'm a bitch, then we won't be friends. That's very simple. So I have a family, and then I can expand my family, and the people choose. Yes, Maria, I like you. No, I don't like you. I'm not breaking laws. I'm not speaking shit in your face, you know what I mean? So that's the why. I'm clear with Maria. So with integrity, I have flaws, and anytime somebody will actively do something that I notice they're upset, which is why when those women, yes, when those women, those few times that I have had, I got two that I'm thinking about, I actively don't lose people. I actively know it's called we're not compatible. I accept rejection. It's not protection. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Did anybody ever use the word imperfect to understand how someone might not like your personality traits. I'm just saying, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is what no shame button means. Yes, I have personality. I'm not going to change my personality. You and I aren't compatible. Okay, good. So I'm trying to make sure you understand the feeling, you hear the tone, because this is actively how I've felt my entire life. Like, I don't understand the problem. Why aren't you making new friends? Anyways, so person, not drunk anymore, actively thinking, they taught me something about manners. That's all I'm going to say. So confirmation of why, as I share with you all, Pacha, don't lecture Cusco. At the end of the Emperor's New Groove, Cusco's still a liar. Pacha knows the truth. Pacha doesn't waste the breath. Enlightenment people, 5D collective, we don't use our breath on those who are adaptive children, because the pattern of their behavior could be taken up with a good therapist, and when they're ready to forgive whatever happened in their book and in their den, they can come back around and be with us. They don't want to. They actively think that they teach us how to be polite. Yeah, I know, right? That's why when I see people who are emotionally immature thinking that they taught me good manners, and I'm going to leave it with this. I shared the story with my mom of this human being. And somewhere I said something about, I told them, it's not like I told them I don't like them. She's like, no, don't tell someone you don't like them. That's nice. And I said, I didn't. I made them very aware by not engaging in any interactions with them. I did it the nice way. And they then made me basically not say, I didn't say I don't like you. I just said we're not going to become friends. We're not going to become acquaintances. We're not going to be interacting. We're going to see each other because we frequent the same place, and that is all. And my mom's like, okay. I said, yes. So that's how you know where you learn to talk to people. If you can't say something nice, say nothing. Take a bit of good. I'm just saying, this emotionally mature people are still children inside. We are actively aware that some people will think we are unkind, but then we're aware of those same people being the people who could use, like Dr. Daniel Fox. Okay, so when you hone in on that which is negative and you don't take awareness that you are the person who has taken something that is yours and projected it upon another, and this is why it would be beautiful and cool if people who are suffering, instead of shaming humanity and using all their fancy words, would go to good therapy and wait till they're ready to forgive their own home and then come talk to those of us who talk about love. The way that love really is, which is forgiving, unconditional. You're supposed to be lovingly accepted, respected, and welcomed with all your basic human emotions. Thank you, Gabor Mate. And when you don't have a child-centric environment, that's where it's not because of parents not trying their best, as all the compassionate therapists have said. It's a lot of different things. So with all of this, science proves that all of us have what is a soul. And it's not provable as a soul, but it's a self. And then the sciences, again, neuroscientists prove that no demon possesses you, but that the first 3 years of your life count. And that is why I don't want to do lecturing here. Okay, and I tell stories, but I could do this all day long because I learned all this material that proves what I already knew in my heart, and Pacha knows it too and tells Cusco, you have a heart, because no person is heartless. And so anytime I see somebody wanting to use the word God or Jesus and tell you to shame people, yeah, sure, you don't know who actually does have consistent contingent communication, and therefore you don't know the ones of us who know how we are all children and brothers and sisters. And as a mystic, though, let me add in my mystic, there's this invisible, because see, when I was growing up with Jesus and God, I didn't have the mystic part, so I didn't know about the invisible dark matter, dark energy with physics law. Now I do, because I have a relationship with the energetic imprint of all of that around me. Okay, so Akash, and that's why it's expanded. And that's why I don't really use the word God, because God is something for when you're talking about like source and universe and people believe in it, but I'm beyond the belief. I'm not in the spirituality soul age group. I'm in the enlightenment soul age group, and I'm a mystic who has clairs, and I can perceive the energetic around me. So Akash is more in tune, because I'm also an Akashic record reader and readings, and I always am picking up on stuff around me. So with that being said, you're all a nervous system, so am I, and apparently physicists also say we're all a sound, so imagine us picking up on all that is around us. That's basically what it is to have clairs, and more than just that. Okay, and then being one with it. And you don't get confused or destabilized, not in a 5D body type. But my point is that there is this invisible way that there's a play of energies. It's just no longer the battle between what the ancients talk about, but 3D and 4D is there for those of you who want to keep it in a 2 spectrum. And I totally get it, because I know as an online marketer and entrepreneur that when you give people more than 3 options, they start to get confused. Which is also why people think that the polyamory community overestimate the usage of your brain. I just don't think you're stupid. I think that if I explain it to you like a 5-year-old, that you can't understand me. You might not like what I'm explaining or sharing, and you might not believe any of the scientists. Dr. Daniel Siegel gets chased down always, and so do other scientists. So just saying, remember that spirituality and sciences come together for 5D collective. Then we have them chasing each other around, and we are okay with name calling, but for us, we use stories. So when I meet Cuscos, I know who they are. And I don't care if they call me a bitch or a witch, because I just don't actively want to engage with small-minded, emotionally immature human beings. So I'm okay with them actively not wanting to engage with me. And I'm not being protected. I'm actively just not engaging with individuals that don't like me. They're not mentally, emotionally, or physically intrigued. There's something that I don't like her. And I now know with Peter Levine that anyone who has not had unconditional love and does not want it for their 1-year-old will, like this bird with a broken wing, head towards the cave with the cat that's about to eat. And that's called the low self-esteem Stromboli relationship. So they're going to go to martyrs, superiors, blamers, and then they're going to actively go and hang out with people who have porous boundaries, and that's where we leave that. Okay, so with all of that, let's see, shall I keep talking a little bit more? Okay, I can't see the time. We'll do a little bit more, and that's how we'll conclude. So the soul family, for us, it's everyone. And we, though, do dharma, not karma. So when we're around people who do the karma stuff, we know how to walk around and be there, and if they want to stick around, they do, and if they don't, they don't. And as for the future, it's looking really great as we have mentally and emotionally smart people out there. So when I told you the story today on this lovely human being who has the emotional maturity that I know of, I was like, wow, this is great. Person who knows that polyamory, there's nothing wrong with it. Person who knows that nothing wrong with a mystic in the sense of they're curious and open, and then they ask more questions. So when you have confident people, because they know who they are, they ask you more questions, not less. And they don't actively make it seem like you are challenging who they are. But that's because they're not challenged, and they don't feel threatened by you being different from them and living a different lifestyle, you see? So empowerment of the self means you know that you're differentiated. You have thoughts and emotions, and you have your own beliefs, your own politics, your own all of that. Put all your human stuff in it, in a little bag. You got your implicit bias, explicit. You got all of your sensei, everything. And now you're with another person. And you are open-hearted, and you're open-minded, and you're comfortable in your own skin. All of your skin. And that doesn't matter what society does this or this. You're at ease. So when you're interacting with another person, that's what's going to perspire. That's what's going to come through. And that's what I got to engage in, and that's what I was sharing with you about this story that wasn't mine, but a polyamory man meeting monoamory man meeting polyamory woman, and actively engaging with curiosity with the topic versus I'm threatened, I'm challenged, I am less, I'm afraid, and other stuff that can instead happen. I'm going to judge you, I'm going to think of you, all these. So this is where asking and pondering and being curious is what grown-ups, emotional, mental, and physically do. The ones who are narrow states, they don't open themselves up to more. They can, but sometimes they won't. And it's a choice. This is exactly why you have the free will to choose. You can expand your consciousness. You don't have to. You can stick to what you were given, and you conform. And if that makes you happy, that's what you stick to. You can also conform and stick to something makes you happy, and meet new people and be as flexible as can be. And that's the part of what makes it nice. So when we're around people who are emotionally, mentally aware and empowered, you have a nice conversation. and it's easygoing. Usually we don't find that. Those of us who have a bit of a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of differences, but then again, I'm the one who can't say that. You know what I mean? This is where others can tell you if they feel that what you are doing conforms to some type of normality, but you don't look at yourself when you are just being you as something that is not normal, meaning we're all normal. So we're all people because we're all different. Excuse me. So that's why, to me, differences are the norm, because you walk in your own body and you walk in your own heart and you walk in your own mind. I will never in a million years be able to know what you will have experienced. And this is what it's called to be an empowered mentally, emotionally, physically person. And that's why you will love, accept, and respect even those who come at you with their shame button, because they are actively not threatening me. I didn't do it. I don't have the shame, and I didn't do whatever it is they're about to begin engaging with, because I know my body. I know Maria's body. It's mine. I own it. The life that's in here. You see, there's no way you can get the 3-year-old out of here, but she's a whole 3-year-old and she's a whole 1-year-old, which is why all that gonna come out is a smile. And if tears come out, it's I want to hug. I actively only want to hug, because that's exactly what a 3-year-old will want in a 1-year-old is, I feel sad now. Can somebody hug me, please, and reactivate my ventral vagal nervous system so I can feel safe again. It's so cute. So our child parts, by the way, they live with us according to the attachment trauma information people. I can perceive mine, but they're all uncharged because it's cool to be here. And that's why I use the word we. I found that one out from Dr. Daniel Siegel. So when we meet people who are like this, it's cool and nice. And then it's cool to meet the people who go to therapy, and then when they're ready to forgive and, you know, again, be here with smiles, they're going to be around, unless they want to be irritated. Some people get irritated with those of us who are gooey, wee, 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 because, again, they don't have that. So it's a reminder of what they didn't have. If they look at their self and they work to self-regulate, and then they work to, again, get out of shame, blame, fault, revenge, and imposter syndrome, and any of that stuff, then they're going to say, you know what, I want to be mentally, emotional, mature, intelligence. When they use fancy words, they don't give it to you the 5-year-old way. I'm giving it to you the 5-year-old way. It's called confidence. It's called having a good time. It's called actively, in my brain, intellectually stimulating, emotionally stimulating, because you're with expanding piece of consciousness. So that's what we get to do here, and that's why healing trauma one person at a time, one relationship at a time, because mindfully living means not I subject myself to your projection. It means that I'm aware of myself, I'm accountable and regulating, and then we will expand with those people that actively choose to be their self, not the ones who have eggshells. Now, the eggshell people, they're with the empowering justice superheroes and their mantles and their capes. You find them everywhere and anywhere. So you'll immediately know who they are. Actively, once you get enough experience, I have had at this point with clairs, and that's how I'm going to put it, because with me it's clairs. Then I got detachment trauma information. What I can tell you is that I actively know what I'm dealing with. Pretty much, if I pay enough attention, as I become more and more mindful of my body while I'm interacting with you, okay, I'm going to figure it out without speaking anything. I don't use my left. I just feel and I know. And so we'll be back with more. Have a wonderful day. Again, thank you for having stopped by. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you do know people who do enjoy 5D Mystic, spiritual self-help, and mindfulness practices, send them our way and let them know about IHP. Have a good one.